yourself. Let me know where you're at currently. And what we're going to focus on today is how you can be in this embodiment of knowing that you are actually the oracle. You're the walking, talking oracle that is able to be in connection with spirit, able to use your intuition to receive the guidance, the insights, the messages, and that the cards are really these beautiful magical tools that just activate the communication. These cards are there for you in spirit to communicate through, but you don't need the handbook to help you do that, right? Thank you for sharing in the comments. I've stopped using the handbook and try and feel into the knowing of what the message is saying. Like I use the guidebook a lot when I am first working with a new deck, and then eventually use it less and less as I get familiar. Yeah. Always used handbook in the past, but starting to trust my intuition more and reaching for handbook less and less. Feels more in alignment to do it this way now. Same as Anna. I only use handbook for extra info. Sometimes it mentions the meaning when certain cards show up together, but I prefer to look at symbols, numbers, and actual art on the cards and genuinely feel to get the message. Yeah, because with the cards and with the handbook, they're such a beautiful, great place to start, and it really introduces you to using oracle cards as a tool of communication with spirit, and it's really exciting and fun. Like I remember when I first found oracle cards, and I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. And I just built up a huge collection and just was playing with them, getting familiar with them all the time. But what we're really focusing on now is, even though the messages on the card or even in the handbook, even though they can activate the communication of the guidance, the insights, and the messages, they can't complete the reading. Put a yes or a no if you agree with that in the comments. Because the way I see it is that they activate the communication, they point in a certain direction, they get us focusing in a certain way, but I just think of it like, how could the same thing written in the handbook possibly apply to every single human being? To really get the more personal, more specific, more accurate, and more resonant message, we have to meet halfway. We have to receive what the cards and perhaps the handbook have to say, but we need to come in and really use our clairs, our intuitive gifts, to complete the reading, to really go beyond just the standard kind of broad message that is activated by the cards and what comes through in the handbook. But we must meet it. We must really bring it through to really have it land, whether it's for ourselves, whether it's for someone else. That's our job as the intuitive, as the one here delivering the guidance, the insights, the messages. And it's just so much more powerful to do so, because when it really resonates either with yourself or for someone else, that's when that real activation of clarity and motivation is built up. Let me know what your experience is like in the comments. You might have had a card reading before, either from yourself or from a reader, where it's purely just come from the card or the handbook, and you might have felt like it was a nice reading, or it was a nice message, or a nice piece of guidance, but you didn't fully feel this complete sense of that message was specifically for me. It came straight into my heart, and I feel motivated to go and implement that guidance, or you might have felt like it touched on what you were needing to know, it touched on your guidance, it helped you see things, in a certain direction, but you might have been feeling like, okay, but there's something more to this. Like, I need it to be just a bit clearer, or a bit more personal, or a bit more resonant to really, feel that complete, like, wow, this really had an effect on me, So yes, definitely was like that when I first began. Yeah, and Kat, you've made a really good point there, saying, however, I realized the handbook is the cards creator's interpretation of the message on the cards. Exactly. So whoever creates the cards and writes the descriptions, that's their interpretation of that particular card or that particular message. And so it might not speak directly to you until you really tune into it with your intuition. And yeah, receive a more personal piece of guidance, right? Yeah, I love that, Vanessa. You're saying readings when myself or the reader are just in a intuitive flow are much richer and personal. Yeah. Yeah, beautiful, Kendall. I love that. Yeah, and what's the other thing I was going to say? I did a post about this the other day. Sometimes what we'll notice is that if we only read the card or only read the handbook, and we don't really fully download and land the guidance, the message, the insight, that's when we can often get like the same card popping up again and again and again. Let me know if you've experienced that before. You might have had a card and been like, oh, okay, I'll take a little bit of guidance from that, and then it's like, pull your cards again, it's there. Pull your cards again, it's there. You're shuffling and that one card just falls out of the pack, and you just feel like, what is wrong? Like, what's up with this card? It's like obsessed with me. It's just following me everywhere. And that can either be that there's like this certain confirmation that you just need to keep seeing, that spirit's just like really encouraging you on something. They just want to keep confirming something. But more times than not, it's really that card keeps coming up and keeps reappearing because spirit is like, can you please read this properly? Like, can you please tune into this? Really pay attention to what we're trying to say here, because there's a message that we keep trying to get through that we're just going to have to keep bringing through and popping up in these cards again and again until it really lands with you, right? So if you do have a card that keeps popping up, if it does feel like just like a confirmation card that keeps encouraging you, then that's cool. But if you do have a card that keeps popping up and you're like, I don't know what this card wants from me, take time to really use your intuition to tune into it and really see what spirit is repetitively trying to bring through for you. And I'll go through a bit of that today in terms of ways to really use your intuition, right? Oh, that's so cool, Kendall. Blew my mind there. I started to listen to the actual message more, not just the irony of it being mountain goat. Yeah. Okay, so let me. Sorry, just needed to make sure something was working. All right. I'm just going to go over what we will be doing today, and then I'll be selecting the winner who I will be doing the full card reading for as the demonstration, and then we'll get into it. So yeah, basically I will choose someone who entered on social media to have the card reading, and provided that they're here online for this session, I will start to connect with them, let them ask some questions for their reading, and then I will basically take you all through my process of calling in spirit, of activating the cards, of really aligning the energetics and the intentions, of opening up my channel, my third eye and crown chakra to begin the reading, ways of which to intuitively shuffle and pull the cards, intuitive spreads. And then when I actually have the cards ready, I'll be taking you through my process of how I read the card using my different clairs, different intuitive gifts to really download and bring through the true guidance and insights and messages without any need for the handbook. Because I promise you, you don't need the handbook. It's kind of like when you learn to ride a bike, you need the training wheels for a little bit, but you get to that point where you're like, I can do this. I don't need the training wheels. I can use my intuition. I can just channel these readings through, right? And then how to complete the reading, how to really empathically disconnect with the person so that you're grounding back into your own energy and really centering yourself again. And and then I just have some reminders for the scholarship and having some one-on-one intuitive consults. So I'll get to that soon. But I would like to select winner for the card reading. There's someone who has been popping up and keeps getting my attention, and I mean that like energetically in terms of whenever I see them, and when I saw them enter for the card reading, I felt a draw to them. And a lot of times Spirit will just kind of be like, yep, work with this one. So this person, I think she's actually entered on both Instagram and Facebook. I know she's here online as well. So Kendall, I'd love to do the reading for you. There you are. I can see you. All right. So, thank you. So Kendall, if you would just like to put, well, you could either come on with your microphone or you can just put it, write it in the comments. Let me know like 3 either areas of your life, or if you want to be more specific, you could put in 3 questions that you have that you would like me to tune into, that you would like some guidance on, and we can get started. Put a yes in the comments if you really enjoy watching readings. I'm still obsessed with it. I still love watching Tyler Henry do his readings, and anyone else who does like the like online or TV readings for people. I love like sitting down and just binging and just watching readings, even if it's not bringing me any guidance. It's just I just love watching readings. I think readings are just so beautiful, and I just love seeing how spirit comes through. Okay, yeah, you love it too. Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to quickly turn my heater off. It's really hot when I do readings, so I need to turn that off. Yeah, Kendall, you can just if you put your microphone on, then we can chat. Okay.
Can you hear me now? Can anyone hear me? I'm just not sure if this is working.
There you are. Okay.
Oh, cool. You can hear?
Can't hear you yet, but I'm sure we will sort that out.
Can you hear me now?
Can anyone else hear? Oh, you can hear her.
Oh,
okay.
Cool.
Oh,
Perfect. It's strange that you can't hear me.
It looks like your microphone's on, but yeah, it seems like everyone can hear you. But I can't for some reason. It's really strange. I put my volume right up.
I'll just write my questions out now.
On my phone, so yeah, it's like there's no sound coming through. I'm sorry, Kendall. Yeah, if you just write your questions, that'll be helpful. Okay. All right. Beautiful. So one guidance around steps to take to start my business. Lovely. All right. I'm going to use my new cards, which I am obsessed with at the moment. Misha, your hair is so long. Looks like it's... I don't remember it being that long. Must have had a growth spurt. Okay. And two guidance from exactly what my niche special gifts are. Beautiful. Okay. So I'll just let you put your other question there, and I will get started. So basically, this can be applied whether you're doing this for yourself or whether you're doing this for someone else. It's the same process. It's really just the intention of whether the guidance is for you or whether the guidance is for another person, right? So first of all, what I like to do is really call in spirit. So whether you are familiar with your spirit guides or not, as long as you call in spirit from a very high energy frequency and vibration, and you call in the spirit guides that are there for you, because whether you personally know your spirit guides or not, you have spirit guides and they're there for you for your highest good. Whether you know their name or their details or whatever, they are there regardless. So don't get caught up on having to know exactly who your spirit guides are. Just know you have spirit guides. Call them in for your highest good to assist you in this guidance in this reading, and start to really feel into them. If you do want to specifically explore your spirit guides, you can always take the spirit guides course that I have to go about that process. But yeah, either way, just really calling in your spirit guides, really calling them in from a high vibration for your highest good and the highest good of the person you're doing the reading for. And I just like to start to feel their energies coming in. So I just take a moment to really feel them and really welcome them and really invite them in, because like they said in the channeling, they really require us to give that free will of like, you can come through full force, like you can really bring your energy through, really bring your guidance through, really communicate through these cards, so yeah, I like to take a moment to really feel them coming in. And when I'm doing a reading for someone else, I like to call in their spirit guides as well to assist in the process for this person's highest good as well. Okay. And now I like to just clear and activate the cards. So when it comes to clearing the cards, it's not that I feel in any way that there's any negative energy or anything like that. It's more just that I like to have that feeling of like fresh energy, a clean slate, and that I can then activate and program the cards to be divine communication tools for this specific reading, right? Let me know if you resonate with that, with the yes in the comments. So when I cleanse the cards, all I really am doing is using my energy, using my intention. And the way that I see it is like I'm sending, and I kind of like tap the cards like this, and I just see these like white sparkling lights just going through the pack of the cards, and just knowing that the energy is clearing the pack of any previous energy, and that it is creating a clean slate with fresh energy for this particular reading for this particular person, right? So I really just like to feel the cleansing of the cards and just feeling that fresh white light. And then I like to activate the cards. So like Spirit said in the channeling, the cards, the cards are created and manufactured and sent out to all the shops and whatnot. And they're created for anyone and everyone. But when you have your pack of cards, it's really great to activate them with spirit as this beautiful, divine tool of communication, right? So when I go about that process, basically I'm sifting through the cards, feeling through the cards, and really creating this force of energy that is lighting up the cards. They're activating the cards. The way I see it clairvoyantly is like this golden light activating each and every card as a divine communication tool between spirit and I. And I feel like spirit assists in that process as well. I feel like they are also activating the cards as these beautiful divine communication tools. And it just feels really it feels really intentional. It feels like you're really opening things up, right? Let me know if you've done this before, if you practiced this in the comments. Just put a yes or a no, or if it's maybe something you want to start practicing. Okay, beautiful. And now to really align the energetics and the intentions, and to begin the reading. I'd like to ask Spirit to come forward with their energy now through the cards. I like to feel their energy, frequency, and vibration being infused through the cards, really starting to connect with the cards, having their energy intertwined with the cards. And if it was just a reading for myself, I would set the intention that I'm asking Spirit to bring through the most divine guidance, insights, and messages and communication for my highest good, and to channel it through the cards. And when I'm doing a reading for someone else, like today I'm doing this reading for Kendall, I ask Spirit to infuse the cards with their energy, frequency, and vibration, and to channel the guidance, the insights, and the messages through these cards for Kendall's highest good, and that they do so clearly and powerfully, and that they really utilize the cards to activate the communication, right? So you're just really aligning the energetics, setting really clear intentions, and that it's for either yourself or for someone else for the highest good, and that it's clear, powerful, resonant, magical communication, right? So once that feels ready, once that feels, to me it feels like sparkly, it's like ready. And then I like to really make sure I'm in that space to receive. So I feel my channel, so from below my feet right up through all of my chakras, right up above me, right up into the higher dimensions, and that channel with spirit. I like to make sure that my channel is open by feeling that openness, by feeling that white light, channeling it all the way through, feeling that I'm surrendered and open and receptive and in the space to provide the reading. I also like to visualize my third eye being really powerfully open and activated and ready, and my intuitive clairs being turned on, and also my crown chakra being like a big beam of light, because we use all of our chakras in our complete channel for this kind of work, but just particularly when I'm giving a reading, I like to really focus on third eye and crown chakra. Okay. I love your comments. So now is the time to start pulling the cards. So when it comes to pulling the cards, it really is best to, as much as you can, get out of your head, really be in your body, really be in your channel, really be in your connection with spirit, really be in touch with your intuition and your feelings, your emotions, what you know, what you might even see or hear as a prompt to start pulling the cards in a certain way. So you could be shuffling the cards, you could be spreading them out, spreading them out across your table. You could be, sometimes I just, instead of shuffling, I start to split the pack and like move them. I just like move them around. If I don't feel like shuffling, I just start to move all the cards around just to really start feeling into them. And then when it comes to actually selecting a card, whether you're shuffling, whether you're splitting the cards up and moving them around, whether you're spreading them out on your surface, it's really about feeling either in your body or in your emotions, or just knowing, or even sometimes seeing or hearing a prompt to pull a certain card, right? And for me, because I more often am shuffling the cards, I'll either get a feeling to stop, or for me, I often hear spirit saying like stop, or they'll say go back. They'll kind of help me find the card, right? Or sometimes when I'm just looking at the cards spread out clairvoyantly, I can just see one that's like lighting up or grabbing my attention, or my eyes are just like drawn, right? Let me know what you feel when you know that you're ready to pull a certain card. Let me know what it feels like for you. Okay, so we're going to go about this process and just pull cards for Kendall. It can be a mix of your intuitive senses. Sometimes you might, for the first card you might feel it. For the second card you might see it and it's lighting up to you. The third card might be, you hear a prompt that says go, or this one, or stop, or, you just experience it differently for each card. Okay. Sometimes I'll see, like if that's the pack of cards, it's like they'll show me a vision of a card being toward the back of the pack, and that it's just like a few millimeters in. Like I can feel, it's like I can see and feel the card that they're helping me to find and pull. Okay, and when it comes to spreads, in terms of like how many cards you pull or how you lay them out, I definitely prefer to do this purely intuitively rather than any like set spread that the handbook says to use, because I feel like the spreads are just as unique as the readings themselves. So I like to go about that very intuitively as to how many I feel are wanting to come through, and how I want to lay them out, which direction I want to read them in, in which sequence. It's all really about using your intuition to feel it and know it, right? Okay, so, and then you just know when it's ready. You either feel it or you know it, or you might hear it or see it. You might look at the cards and be like, yeah, these are complete. This is all of the cards that wanted to come through, right? So Any of the cards usually jump out of the deck. Yeah. Okay, so now with the cards that are ready, I like to take a moment, because I work more clairvoyantly and more visually, I like to take a moment to just gaze at all of the cards and to see which one or which ones I feel drawn to. Sometimes I can see that they are not quite in the order to really bring the guidance through as seamlessly as possible. So I might lay them out in a slightly different order to really feel like the energy is in like a nice flowing space, right? And I just take time to really use my clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, and claircognizance, which is clear seeing, clear hearing, clear knowing, clear feeling, to pick up on what each card is activating and then how they are all working together to bring through the guidance, the insights, and the messages, right? So I'm going to, the best I can, talk through the process of everything I'm picking up on from the cards so that you can really see what's going on behind the scenes to get to the point where the reading is provided, right? So I'm just going to take some time to really tune it in, and then I'll walk you all through it, okay? Okay, beautiful. So okay. Okay, so I'm going to start with the little shuffle around I just did here. Basically, when I was gazing at the cards and I was starting to tune into the energies, I could feel that certain cards wanted to be like grouped together because they had a similar message that was just being amplified through multiple cards. You know, like they had the same essence to them, the same kind of message, but there were multiple ones, so they wanted to be together to really amplify that one message, if you see what I mean by that. You'll understand as I go through it. And there were certain cards that wanted to be paired together to show like two sides of something, to show like this is happening, but this is what's going to help you. And there were also certain cards that were wanting to be a little bit segmented because they were specific to the different questions that she had, right? So first of all, for you, Kendall, so there are these three cards. This is what I mentioned by these three cards that wanted to be grouped together. They are, well, I'll show you them first. So there's this one, which is the Solitude card. I love the images on these cards. And then this is the Sacred Space card. And this is the grounding in like Mother Earth card. right? And those three wanted to be grouped together because, and it felt like all three of them were coming through with that similar message, rather than just say one card coming through on that type of message. It feels like all three of them are coming through because it feels like Spirit is really wanting to reinforce this really strong sense of realizing just how much energy you give away to other people, and just how much you prioritize others, or prioritize how you can help other people before you prioritize yourself, and really give yourself your complete energy, your complete priority and attention, and what's the word, like permission to really take the time to express, or yeah, actually embody and express who you really are and who you really came here to be and what you're wanting to do. So they're really bringing those three through together to be like, this is really, 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 really important as a energetic activation of the direction that you're going in, because it's like it's feeling. And the thing is, when I tune into these cards, it's the clear sentience, it's the clear feeling that I get of this, like feeling in my body when I'm looking at these cards and tuning into these cards. It's like I feel in my body what it feels like to be you, in the sense of feeling like, um, yeah, feeling like you don't get that full prioritization of like who you are and who you came here to be. So that's what I mean by really not just reading what the card says, but feeling the energy, feeling the emotion, feeling what it feels like in your body, because it's okay and it's safe to do that. Empathy is such a powerful gift of being able to understand each other without needing to um, communicate with words. It's like a really powerful gift, and it's safe for you to use your empathy to actually feel into what someone else is feeling when you're doing this kind of work, when you're a light worker, when you're doing readings. It's a really great gift to feel, okay, I feel what this person's feeling. I feel like, I feel it in my body right now. I feel like I don't have my energy to myself. I feel like I don't have prioritization to embody who I truly came here to be in order to activate this path that I'm really desiring to go down in terms of, say, your business and your gifts and what you're really wanting to put out there. So they're group, like group your energy, or bring your energy back into yourself. Really feel into the embodiment, feel into the activation of who you came here to be with your purpose and with your business. And that is going to be a lot more powerful than just doing something, because I feel like at the moment you might be looking for what are the actions, but they feel empty in the sense that they'll actually have effect until the embodiment is prioritized and felt. Because when you're embodied in who you truly came here to be and you want to start a business, it'll just be obvious to you, if you know what I mean. Like, because you're embodied in it, it's channeling through you, and you won't be able to help but take the aligned action, right? But it's when you're not embodying it and not giving yourself your full energy and prioritization that you're looking around and being like, well, this person does this person does that, or this person says to start here and that person says to start here, or this article, blah, blah, and it's like, oh, but I don't know which one to take, or I don't know what one's going to work for me, blah, blah, blah. But when you're embodied in the energy and you're ready to move forward, it'll be like, I can't help but take this action because I just feel it. I know that this is where I need to start. I'm excited. I'm created. Creative. I'm inspired. Like, I desire to start here. So they're saying like the embodiment is a really, really, really important part and a factor for you at this point, to really make the most of like starting that journey, right? And so, yeah, for everyone else, for me, that particular message in those three cards, that came through as more of a feeling in my body. That was the sentient experience, right? Um, But then moving into the next cards, uh, this was more of a cognizant experience. So the more clear knowing experience. I looked at the cards and I just knew what they were trying to say. I knew what spirit was communicating through these cards without being able to explain how I got there, right? Let me know in the comments if this is sounding familiar to you, in the sense of like you might pull cards and feel in your body what the guidance is, or you might pull cards and just know without being able to explain how you know what the guidance is and what spirit's trying to communicate through the cards. Let me know what it's like for you. So with these cards, they are, first of all, so I'll first show this card, which is the light and dark, or dark and light card. Um, and I just knew when, and I mean, the card itself says harmony exists only with contrast. But to be honest, I looked at that and I was like, that's not the message. Like for this particular reading for Kendall right now, that's not what I'm going to say to her, because that doesn't quite get to the point of what's really trying to be said. Put a yes in the comments if you know what I mean by that. When you read it and you're like, that's not quite it. Like I can't just relay what that says, because that's not quite it. It's the right card, and it has a deeper piece of guidance, a deeper insight, a deeper message. It's not that the card's wrong or anything. It's just that you might read what it says and what the like face value is, and you're just like, I'm gonna kind of just not really pay any attention to what that says, or I'm not going to relay that or tell that to the person I'm doing the reading to, because that doesn't quite feel quite right. But I'm gonna tune in and I'm gonna see what really wants to come through, right? And so when I was tuning into this one, the cognizant knowing was that they were signifying a certain like um, it's like, and then also clairvoyant, they were showing me a hurdle. So, and it feels like an internal hurdle, like an internal challenge. It's like once you really embody and take time to prioritize yourself to align with your desire for your purpose in your business, when it comes time to actually start moving forward in that, it feels like you're going to have like a hurdle that comes up to say like, you need to get rid of this first, kind of thing. Like this thing's going to pop up, and that's okay. It's just this thing's going to pop up quite quickly as soon as you get into the embodiment and you start getting clear and moving forward. This challenge or shadow part is going to pop up and just say, hey, I need to be cleared in order for you to be able to go forward. You know, it's kind of like uh, they're just joking, and they're like, it's kind of like the troll under the bridge that is like waving and going, hey, like get rid of me before you cross, kind of thing. And so I was feeling that, and then the other cards, the next one was this this beautiful card. Can do something. Do you want me to say what I think it is referring to? See if this message resonates with what's coming to mind for you. So this is the card that says, I mean, it's called the Loving Guidance card, but that wasn't standing out to me. It was more the image, and down here it says, you are valuable, you are deserving, there is unending love available for you, right? And so it was like clairvoyantly through the image and her sense of like owning her value and owning her worthiness, and particularly the word valuable. You know, sometimes you'll read what it says and there'll just be one word that's like, oh, that's the word. I don't even need to pay attention to all these other words. That's the word that's standing out. Put a yes in the comments if you've felt that before. You just look and you're like, I don't even need to read the whole thing. It's just that word right there. And to me, it feels like so more clairsentiently in my emotions. To me, it feels like the sense of your own awareness of your value feels like you question it upon how much others show you love, if you get what I mean by that. So like your own sense of value is being determined by how much you think other people show you love and show you that you're valued to them, you know. And back to the picture, and what I was really seeing clairvoyantly when I was looking at this picture is that the goal, so to speak, is to overcome the hurdle or the challenge of that kind of shadow part of you that lets other people dictate your value according to how much love they show you, and choosing to own it within yourself and choosing to radiate that, because that's going to be a big factor for your soul business as to leading others to see your value. Because the more that you're embodied in your value will make a huge effect upon how others value your work, and are willing to pay you and show you that energetic exchange, right? So that feels really important um, in this process. So you're starting with like giving your energy to yourself, prioritization and embodiment, getting into that activation of this path, acknowledging that this is going to feel like it's getting in your way in terms of that sense of value for yourself, and acknowledging the kind of shadow of it, acknowledging that previously your own sense of value was dictated by how much love other people showed you. And that can be specific to how much, specific to your love language, like to certain people, it's like, oh, if someone shows me affection, that shows me love. But they don't see it in other ways and whatnot. Or you might feel like, because this person doesn't show me affection, they don't show me love. But they might be showing love in a different way. There's all those different factors to it. But it feels really, really, really important to acknowledge that that's something that needs to be cleared to really completely embody and moving forward. And there's also this card that was tied in. So it's the integrity card, right? It says, remember what you stand for, especially when no one is looking. So that one was more so, that one feels like it was more so backing up that last card and saying like, it's how you value yourself that keeps the integrity to your purpose and your business, and how other people respect you. Because I think that's something that they are also, like I feel more clairaudiently that they're bringing through a message of like, not a warning, but just like a, hey, we don't want you to have to deal with feeling like people aren't respecting your value because you're not giving the example of it in your own integrity with yourself first and foremost, right? Because that feels like that's a possible timeline, is that if you don't really own and show up with that sense of value for yourself, and you let people think that they can dictate your value, it feels like there's that potential to get really upset by feeling like you're not being respected in your purpose, in your work, in your business. So that's why they're saying like it's really important to hold the integrity, and stand for what you want the basis to be of your purpose in your business, because that will dictate how other people reflect, right? So yeah, that felt really important. Also, with so this is interesting. So they brought through those cards, and particularly, well, so those were the messages for you personally from those three cards. But then they came back to these two cards. They came back to these two, and they were saying, okay, when it comes to the people that you are going to be serving, with your purpose, with your gifts, with your ability, with what you can see, with what you can bring to light, they're like, this is like symbolism of the effect you'll have, the transformation that you'll have, because it feels like I clairsentiently feel, and also claircognizantly have a sense of knowing that you have the gift and ability to, meet someone and be able to see all of the light that is available to them, even in their imperfections or their so-called negative traits or their traumas or their insecurities. Um, it's like they're now like clairvoyantly showing me an image, continuing on from what the cards show, of you coming across someone and they present themselves how they see themselves, right? But it's like this little vision of you going through and being like, oh, like these are just clues or like hints or stories, um, that you have identified with or associated with. But I can see all of the potential and all of the light that is available to you when you go through these things. So say for example, if it's like someone's insecurity about themselves because of what their mother told them when they were young, um, it's like you would see and highlight to them and present to them like, this is what it would be like, this is what it would look like, this is what it would feel like, if you were to, say for instance, like do the like inner child healing upon what your mother told you, and if you were to rewrite that, it's like you're showing them the light available to them if they were to work through that. Like you hold the light steady, if you see what I mean by that. And you see through what they think are their blocks or their imperfections or their reasons why they can't, do certain things or whatnot. You just hold the steady light of like, it's here, it's available to you, and I'm going to see and help you move through these things. And you could so easily do that through, like providing card readings to show them like the guidance, insights, the messages that get them to realize what you see, if you get what I mean. And the cards would also help you to know how to communicate that with them. So you can see how like, yeah, even if you even just visually, it's like they're showing this transformation of them either like being in the space of like looking at their shadows or looking at their kind of darkness, so to speak, but pondering like, is this really me? Do I really need to hold on to this? Is it my truth, or is there a way through? And then this is like a representation of how you see their potential, you see them working towards, and yeah, it's like you hold that example for them, like almost like holding this like vision of like, this is who you can be. And also that's when they come back to the love and guidance message up here. So it's interesting how they wanted to bring those cards up for you personally, but then they came back to them and they're like, there's actually a way that these cards can communicate your niche or the person you're really wanting to work with and provide your purpose to. And this is like the essence of what will happen working with them. And then these two cards kind of put themselves aside for the third question about how you can help your, friends and family and loved ones. They're going through a hard time at this point. This is the Kuan Yin compassion card, and then this is the it's like a willpower card. But I will share with you what I was picking up on them more so. So with this one, with the compassion card, this one feels like, yes, compassion, but more so like being someone who holds space for them with, with compassion, with love, with softness, with gentleness, with kindness. Like you're holding the space, but not to the point where you are sacrificing their own energy for yourself. Do you know what I mean by that? It's like you can hold space for it, but not to the point where you're neglecting your own need for it. You can see, like, kind of in the image, how she is like holding the energy, holding the space, but she's drinking from it as well, if you know what I mean. Like she's not starving herself of that energy in order to hold it for anyone else. She's like, yeah, I like this energy. I'm gonna have some for myself. I'm gonna hold it for other people. Um, and then with this one, although the word is willpower, that feels a bit masculine for this particular message. So again, it was more sentiently, that I was, feeling a sense of what the real message feels is that, like, when you hold them in this nice, compassionate, loving energy, at this, it's like in the same at the same time, hold them in your vision. Like hold a vision of how strong they are, that they don't actually need you. Like, that's the thing, is that I think, they've kind of, from the start, they keep mentioning in certain bits throughout the reading that, you think that you need other people's, um, what's the word? It's There's this feeling of like a tie to other people that you just don't need anymore. So it's like you can hold the energy for them with compassion and love, but you can also hold them in your vision as really strong, capable beings that can take care of themselves, and that it's only a temporary situation, and that yeah, it's really best for you to see their power, than to think that they need you in order to be okay. You know, it's like holding them in a higher light and just being like, you don't need me. I'll hold this nice energy for you. I'm not going to deplete myself with it, but you can have, some of this energy that I'm holding of compassion and love. But you don't need me. I see your power. I see your strength. I see, even if you're doubting at the moment, I see the light. Like and they're like, okay, that comes back to your purpose and how you're meant to really work with people, is hold that vision of, like, the light is there. Like, they're strong, they're capable, they're able, they're powerful in their own beings to, walk through into the light in that sense. So you can, yeah, really energetically support themselves, but take a bit of a step back from your personal responsibility in that sense. Because like they were mentioning before, and that's coming through clear audiently, is this message of, like, the tie is no longer needed. um it's like this tie of, like, I've got to get the love from them in order for me to feel valuable. But because but then it comes back to, like, they need me, and then I need them, and then they need me, and but yeah, it's like that tie isn't needed anymore. You can each be sovereign beings in your own higher selves, right? Okay, I'm just gonna look at your messages. Okay, so when you said, do you want me to say what I think it is referring to, did that resonate when I just kind of, like, went through the rest of the cards with the value and everything? You're saying this is amazing, so amazing and helpful and so spot on. Oh, I'm really happy. So perfect. Thank you. Oh my God, this is so perfect. I understand the tie so much. Can't believe how accurate this is. Yeah, and so he's saying, yes, absolutely. I have a fear of putting myself out there spiritually. Yeah, and yeah, I think that's the kind of like surface level thing, but it's underneath it is like having that integrity of I value myself. So like if you have the integrity of valuing who you really are, putting yourself out there isn't subject to anyone else's permission or, so it's like, I feel like they're talking about the thing that you're mentioning in terms of putting yourself out there spiritually, but they're like, this is more of the emotional part of it that needs the adjustment in order for you to feel confident putting yourself out there spiritually. Yeah. Okay, beautiful. So, and this is for everyone, just let me know in the comments how you can see that if I just read Kendall, if I just said, this is your card and this is what it says, and then there's this card and it says this, and this card says this, like it might have pointed her in the direction of the guidance that Spirit's trying to communicate, but there was so much left to download, to tune into, for me to use my clairsentience, claircognizance, clairvoyance, clairaudience to actually deliver the reading in a way that felt really clear and accurate and personal and resonant for Kendall, right? Let me know in the comments, because even with the examples that I gave, it's like this card came through and I feel like there was a really beautiful message and piece of guidance through this card, but what it said down here, I didn't even want to relay it because it just wasn't quite what was really trying to come through. Or with this one, the word willpower, like it reminded me of strength and everything, but willpower wasn't quite the right word to use it because that, like I said, that felt too masculine. So it's like seeing how the cards activate, point in a certain direction. They're like touchstones. They help with the communication, but they don't complete the whole reading. They don't complete the full personal guidance, right? And you can see how I took time to do my job of not just relaying to Kendall just what the card said or just going to the handbook and just reading something to her. I took the time to use my intuitive gifts, to tune in, to have that connection with spirit and that continued communication beyond the cards, and really let her know what I was feeling or knowing or seeing or hearing for her. And yeah, it just feels like, like Kendall said, it felt really resonant for her, but also for me, it felt like I really worked with the energy. I really channeled it through. I feel complete now. I don't feel like I just kind of just picked up some cards and just said something to it. Like I feel like there's this sense of completeness. Like, yeah, okay, I feel like the messages got through. And what Spirit wanted to say today was communicated, right? And so a massive difference, just given the card is much more vague. Yeah. So it's really just, for those of you that really want to go beyond the kind of face value of the card, or go beyond reading the handbook and getting to that space where you don't need the handbook and you're using your intuitive gifts and your abilities to really continue the communication with spirit through the cards, but beyond the cards, for either yourself or for someone else. Really learning to go about that process and be really familiar with your clairs and your intuitive gifts and your communication with spirit is really, it's really important and it's really powerful, and it's what will really help the guidance or the readings to really land, to really make sense, to really feel personal and really feel resonant and motivating. How does it feel for you, Kendall? Like overall, does it feel like a sense of clarity or a sense of like, do you feel motivated to go and integrate the reading or integrate, take certain aligned actions? Mm-hmm. Okay, you're saying with the willpower thing, it's also a reminder for you to not be in a masculine energy. Sometimes I feel like I want to step into that energy because I get exhausted around compassion, but now do you mean comparison? I'm not sure. But now I know that this is because I am allowing myself at those times to drain my energy whilst holding space, whereas I need to hold space but not give all my energy away and remain in feminine but strong energy. So much clarity, yes, definitely. Okay, beautiful. So much better idea around clarity and what I need to do now. Beautiful. Okay, love that. How about the rest of you? How did that feel for you? You might have even, just from watching, you might have even received some messages for yourself. Even though the reading was for Kindle, being able to witness the reading and be a part of it and feel it, there might have even been some like reminders or messages for you. Also, let me know in the comments if watching the demonstration and having me explain the whole process, is there anything in particular that you feel you noticed and you were like, okay, I really want to be able to work on that ability, or I want to practice that part more, like I want to take more time to feel into it, or I want to have more of a, perhaps you might feel like you want more of a range of your clairs coming through, because you might find that you're very clairsentient and you feel a lot from the cards, but you might be like, okay, I want to know and hear and see through my other clairs what's coming through, and really expand upon my ability to read in a multifaceted way. Let me know what it feels like to you. I'm going to step beyond my fear and be more true to myself and my values. Yeah, I have such a good idea now on how to conduct card readings also. I've learned so much around using different clairs when giving readings. Things that I thought were wrong are actually me being intuitively and divinely guided. Um, oh, beautiful cat. I can do like moving the cards around. I thought I wasn't allowed to move them, but now it makes so much sense why I would want to move them around. Yeah. Yeah, letting go of any rules. That's the thing sometimes with handbooks is they make you feel like there's a rule. They kind of make you feel like you have to do it this way. And that if you're not doing it how the handbook says, then you're somehow wrong. But this is about an intuitive process that is completely up to you, you know? Okay. Vanessa is saying, yeah, I'm quite dominantly clear cognizant now. I'd like to expand in the other clear. Well, you're in Oracle Advancement, so we're going to be working on that. You're going to be practicing one by one. You're going to be going through, like, there's a whole week on each clear and using the cards purely with that one clear to develop and enhance that clear. And you're going to be practicing with all the other girls to get that, you know, tangible experience and the feedback, and see how each of your clairs are working through the communication, you know, with spirit through the cards, and how you're really receiving in those different ways. And she's saying, yes, how the card was correct, but the message wasn't exact. How was